Hello YouTube, this is the Bucket coming at you today with the Bucket builds his first AR. And I went out to the gun range today to shoot some pistols with the UGD and with the Goat Whisperer, and afterwards the Goat Whisperer said, hey, let's go ahead and build you an AR. And we went down to the compound of the Goat Whisperer, and we went ahead and took this Omni Hybrid receiver that has steel inserts and all the load-bearing parts, and we decided to start assembling my AR. And one of the really cool things about the PSA kits is they separate bag all the pieces, so you know where each spring goes, where each detent goes. They actually even gave us one spare detent just in case you're kind of like me and it was your first time building one and one sprung across and you lose one. So that was kind of really cool. We went ahead and we started off with the pistol grip today. Then we went ahead and moved on to the selector switch. Then we went ahead and we put in the magazine release. We went ahead and pushed this in, assembled on the other side, spun this piece around until we got her good and threaded. Now, the Goat Whisperer, I think, thought highlier of the Bucket than he probably should have, because when he said, go ahead and start this pin for your bolt release, I went ahead and drove that puppy all the way in. And if you've ever seen a monkey try to make sweet, sweet love to a football before, you'd probably seen to a kin trying to get this pin back out of there. So if you're assembling one of these puppies, you want to go ahead and make sure you just start it. You don't drive it all the way in, because getting her out can be quite the problem. Then we went ahead and now let's go ahead. Bam. We went ahead and put the trigger in. That went pretty well. We noticed that the pins on the kit are the perfect size, but on these AR plastic parts, they actually made them a little bit fatter. So we were a little concerned about that, but it actually worked great. Then he went ahead and said, well, Bucket, you go ahead and get yourself a hammer and put her in there. And I was real proud of myself that I got that put in there. And that went really, without a hitch. Went ahead and did the buffer tube. Now, this was a little bit tricky, because you got to get that pin in there and get it set and get this plate on here. There's a little spring under here that you got to get that just right on there, and we didn't get the spring seated fully on the first go. And once we did that, it worked a whole lot better. This plate came right on top of it. I may or may not have forgotten to move the castle nut before we did that and had to redo it, so that may have been a little bit of a hiccup on the Bucket's part. But it was a fun, enjoyable process to put this together. And how the Goat Whisperer talks about it, he goes, it's an adult Lego kit. And I don't think there's a better way to describe what building an AR is like. I'd never really felt the desire to build my own, and when this kit came up from Palmetto State, I was like, man, this just seems like this would be a fun thing to do. I went ahead and I disassembled the upper from the lower, because my shooting studio does not lend itself to rifles. So I had to go ahead and separate those so we could get everything in there. Once again, this upper came completely assembled. Everything was real tight. The UGD hooked me up with a rear sight to go with this front post, Maybe I'll think about mounting a grenade launcher on it. I don't know. You know, you just never know with a situation like this. That Holosun is a beautiful sight. It goes ahead and it is operated by just shaking it, and it is bright and it is beautiful and it works out just right. So then it was time to go ahead and put the upper and the lower on, assemble those puppies together, and it was time to go out to the Goat Whisperer's range again, go down the rifle range, and go ahead and take it through its paces. So we went ahead and shot this puppy.
I learned a lesson. Never half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing.